Make sure Restream is going. That's beautiful. Okay. And we're live there. All right. Cool. All right. Get the party started. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone joining both or all, 5 different places. So our main platform is Zoom, where you can find the direct link on freedomsnap.org/Seth for anyone that would like to join live on our Zoom meetings. We don't have any lag here. And then we restream out to Facebook, YouTube. Actually, how many Facebook channels? I think like 2 or 3 Facebook channels, 2 YouTube channels. So I think like all in all, we have about 5 different platforms we're restreaming out, and we are trying to reach that 100th monkey. Once we get that 100th monkey, sky's the limit there, guys. So please share this far and wide as you can. We try to send an email notification to remind everyone every Sunday or Monday for our Zoom events that we hold every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. These are Coherence Meditations that we hold weekly. So the topic today is actually, we're on week number 2 of abundance. And last week we covered abundance as it relates to health. And this week we're going into abundance as it relates to wealth. So health, wealth, and we'll see what else brings in the coming weeks. So, and we have everybody here on our Zoom call. Thank you for joining. If anybody on YouTube land or Facebook land wants to write anything in the chats, it'll come to me, and I can always relay it through to our Zoom session. So feel free to do so. And Seth, I guess off to you, sir.
Thank you. It's so funny when you say we're going to reach that 100th monkey, and you're like, I just had this vision of like, we won't need to use computers anymore. Well, I'll just be able to do this in the web of life. So,
well, last week I think we had 40, or we're getting there. So I think we've been doing this almost 3 months, I think, right now.
And I'm seeing new people on this very call, like 4 or 5 new people, so that I have not seen before. So that's awesome.
Yes, welcome. And yeah, I mean, it's just word of mouth. That's really what we're about. We're as we all know, we're starting up a Freedom Snap community. So of like-minded, spiritually minded, people that can come together in a community, and there's a lot to it. So a lot of work behind the scenes going on there. So
yeah.
So what do you think, Seth?
I'm trying not to, because if I think too much, then I get in the way of my own self, right? So.
And the water, you mentioned something about get some water now.
Good call. Yes, thank you, Louis. So yeah, before we start, I want to ask everybody to grab a bottle of water or a glass of water or a mug of water. It doesn't just have to be water. It can be, tea or whatever. Try to stay away from the corn syrup flavored pop drinks. I won't name any companies. But it's beautiful because when we have water next to us while we do these sessions, it will literally charge up and charge us back, because we're totally getting into this space of just, we're choosing to recognize reality through the energy forms that we currently are. All the water in our body, around our body, it all becomes structured through everything that we're doing, through all these neurosynaptic connections we're making to ourselves, to each other, and learning to trust and rise above and rise into the real life, which is energy based, right? We try to put words onto it. It can only kind of describe it. It is like being a child, being a young kid that can't even talk yet. We get into these states of viewing reality without language, without thoughts, without any kind of patterns that start to develop as a result of growing up in this world that we're in. and the seeming need to really direct where human beings focus their consciousness, because it is as powerful as can be. You get millions, billions of people all focusing their consciousness on one thing. Whether somebody's in contact consciously with their soul, with this energy that's causing all, it doesn't matter. It's there no matter what, even if we don't think it is. So what we're doing is we're coming together. We're choosing to honor the part of us that is this. It's like a bioelectromagnetic pulse of energy that can't even be named, but it is closer to us, even closer to us than our heartbeat. This energy is everything, everything. It is literally closer to us than the heart. So when we choose to start paying attention to this, then attention itself begins to pay us back, in the sense that we're choosing to rise into the potential of what each of us can do, can be. We're also choosing to rise above everything that we feel can hold us back. But we're not blaming, we're not pointing fingers. We are simply just riding along something that we're not going to let it hurt us. We're going to really become so powerful in our own consciousness that we don't even worry about it. We just look at all the things happening as lessons or opportunities for real growth, to start to embody the real wealth. If people, everyone wants to, Louis, go ahead.
Oh, you said something so huge just now, that if we get a bunch of people focusing on one thing, we're all aligned on it. It's like, this isn't new, this concept. In fact, that's how we are in the mess that we're in right now, is because we've all been unwittingly, unconsciously focusing on negative stuff, which is how the world shows up the way it is. All you're saying is, hey, let's do what we've been doing unwittingly, unconsciously, consciously, with direction. And so it's not like a new concept. It's just doing what we've already been doing, but now with heart and coherence.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's just a matter of the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. When we recognize what the worthy ideal is, which is essentially us a lot more empowered by the energy that we already are, because we're only picking up a little tiny bit of it, and we have the potential to really tune in. And then who we think we are, our human identity, our personality, it's really just very small to what it has the potential to realize. And so many beings have gone through these lives in these bodies, maybe just barely tasting a glimpse of their own potential. And here we are, probably more than in who knows how many lifetimes. We're coming together. We recognize that whatever is happening in and around us and together, it's powerful. And we're not here to be victims anymore. We're not going to blame anybody or anything for our station in life. We're just going to stop, because we're taking responsibility for how we perceive ourselves, each other, this world. And when you keep habituating and making that worthy ideal, which is knowing who we are in harmony with this energy, keep doing that. At some point, boom, you will be so much more conscious of consciousness. And if it's really just a matter of staying in it, there's a little part of yourself that's probably rejecting wanting to be in the flow of your own energy, only because we've been focusing on all these other things for so long. We've created a habit of just focusing on limitation, you could say. And so now we're choosing something very different than that. And it can take a little while for the mind and the heart and the whole body to adjust from what it's always been used to doing into what it has the potential to be. But when it does cross that barrier and go into the potential, the 100th monkey effect, morphogenetic fields, when we do that, and we do it in a way that is just, yep, doing it no matter what. Yeah, I might not be where I want right now, but I am definitely creating that, creating the possibility in me, even in the unconscious parts of myself that know they can be much more conscious. And the byproduct of that is you begin to recognize your own evolutionary perspective and development as being more valuable, more worthy than anything that is outside of us. Because everything outside of us is actually coming through the inside of us. And without even knowing it, we have created constructs, we've created energetic boundaries, maybe not consciously, but enough so that those boundaries are really good at keeping us in limitation. So let's get totally relaxed. Allow your mind to be aware of the water that you brought into this. And if you didn't, don't worry about it. You can just focus on the water in your body, around your body. It will pick up on your internal work. It will be structured by it. So just rest as much as you can. Quickly scan your entire body. If there's any resistance, if there's any pain, if there's anything that you feel is worth letting go of, then do that. You can let go of it in different ways. You can take your attention and focus on whatever that feeling of pain or rejection or anything, whatever it is, you're embracing it as a teacher. You're embracing it as a part of your own evolutionary soul cycle that is infinite. And you choose to feel your pulse. You get good at feeling your pulse anywhere in your body, which is one of the major themes that we keep putting out there because it's so important. But regardless of it's so important, it is so empowering. Smile from your heart. You don't even need to think what it means. Just find some way to put a little smile in your face, on your face, from your heart. No thoughts. You're just tuning and choosing to just tune into the pulse of your own being. And put a smile on your face. You don't need to always be rocking around with it. But you have the ability to choose. Do I want to be in a state of being that represents limitation? Or do I want to be in a state of being that represents limitless potential? That really only can be embraced by us choosing to love ourselves and life. And it's a habit. Get really good at loving life. It begins to love us back until there's no boundaries of illusion or duality. All of that stuff becomes balanced, becomes harmonious with the aspect of ourself that is limitless and that we all know we're capable of in these bodies, on this place. Now focus on your breath. all someone ever did was choose to focus on developing habits of feeling their pulse, their heartbeat anywhere in their body, and also chose to get really good at breathing rhythmically with love for oneself and this world unconditionally. Just those two habits done over and over till it becomes entrained by our own willingness to embrace these new habits. And that worthy ideal is ready to hit a fever pitch. And it's ready to help you break out of the boundaries that you may or may not even realize are there. When you do that, and life loves you back, recognizes your efforts, you're able to take a quantum leap in your own evolution at that point. So get to know your breath. Focus on doing it rhythmically, 3 or 4 seconds on the inhale, 3 or 4 seconds on the exhale. Just get into a little pattern, and don't worry if you can't. Just breathe slowly, evenly. And also feel your breath. Literally feel what it's like to inhale and exhale to the degree that you can really feel it in your body. The air comes into your lungs the longer you exhale, inhale. The air leaves your body on an exhale. That simple function, that process of breathing is all powerful. It has given you the ability to create a sense of self that isn't limited by anything. And because you're creating this habit within you, and we're creating this habit with all of us, with everybody here, we are actively pursuing the development of a worthy ideal. And bit by bit, when we get into that and just breathing calm, rhythmic breaths, feeling your heart and your brain sending and receiving signals to each other, you're able to feel your pulse anywhere in your body. You have those few different actions really well developed in you. And you are working with the co-creative principles of what it takes to imagine the sense of self we have the potential to be in these bodies, in this life. Relaxing deep. Breathing rhythmically. Feeling our pulse anywhere to the best of our ability. And you don't need to be able to do that for any of this to work. It's just something to strive towards. Putting that little smile on your face that's empowered by your heart. And the feeling that occurs when you smile through your heart, and that love is coming through your smile. You're choosing to unconditionally love the parts of yourself that maybe you haven't faced or created a healthy relationship with. But you can. And you absolutely are doing that. we begin to recognize and acknowledge and create our sense of self in harmony with this energy that is inside us everywhere and all around us. We choose to create a relationship with that. We've unlocked the ability and the potential to heal from anything. Anything that we've been through, we have the ability to learn how to make peace with it so that it becomes a source of empowerment rather than something we don't want to look at or resist or reject. Choosing to embrace it. We have made a decision that who we think we are, when harmonized into this energy that we are, we become so aware that that is what is really going to make a difference in our lives, in this world, that we've prioritized it. We have prioritized that connection to the infinite aspect of ourselves, of each other, all of it. Just keep breathing. Feel that little smile, that love that you're choosing to feel for yourself, so that you literally get so good at aligning who you are with what you are, so that there's no more division in you or around you. You overcome the barriers that you and that this life can put in front of all of us. You're not victims. We are victors. We are totally empowered to move above and beyond all that we see in this world that feels like we're being caged by it. Because what happens if we aren't being caged? If all those bad things happening in the world aren't actually here to enslave us, then what would that mean? That would mean that they are an aspect of us that we are becoming more and more conscious of within ourselves, to the degree that all the terrible things happening in the world can somehow be alchemized, and the pain and suffering that it causes for so many can be turned into feelings and awareness that are exponential beyond the greatest hate, the greatest fear, the greatest pain. We can literally become conscious of this creative force that we all are, and the willingness to become conscious of it. It sets us free. We're focusing on feeling an abundance of health. And we're going to continue to focus on that and segue into all of the external needs we feel that we need to have or want to have, so that we can truly become successful in just being alive. When we become successful at getting our priorities in line, meaning health, to some degree, we have recognized that whether it's mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual, we recognize that there's different forms of health to each of those four parts of you. And the more you choose to focus on the healthy aspects of the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. You get all those different parts or ideas of yourself in harmony together. Then you are choosing to be enveloped and at the same time are emitting an energy form, feeling the harmony of who we think we are with all that is. Those become our skills. Those are what allow us to be able to just be here, hardly being afraid of anything, because you have faced that inner fear. You have faced all those different elements of your being, and you are making peace with all of it until all of it starts to become all of you. And you love that process. We love it. When you begin to harmonize the energies of your body, of your being, you're operating at a frequency that is way higher than one that isn't intentionally doing these steps. And you get really good at feeling that frequency, knowing it, literally knowing it until it knows you. You can go back and forth for a while, but eventually it all just levels itself. It balances itself. And then out of nowhere, you have a breakthrough. You realize that all of this inner work that you've done, this willingness to recognize and know oneself as the energy that they are, that creates something that can have such a profound effect on transforming our world from pain into healing and beyond. And it only takes a few of those breakthroughs for you to really be convinced that it is worthwhile to continue to strive towards this, to know ourselves and each other as these limitless energy forms that have been traveling for incalculable amounts of time. Who and what we all are has been moving throughout space and time for longer than anybody could ever imagine. And if somebody was to imagine that to the degree that it became their physical reality, they would know that loving and being aligned with this harmony that causes all the creativity to happen in us and in the world. We get to know it to a degree that the abundant aspect of our own health, of our wealth in this world, whether it's wealth in relationships, whether it's wealth in the sense that you're so healthy that you're ready to just create changes in the world. Whether it's abundance in recognizing your own gifts. Abundance takes many forms. And when we put health as one of the primary objectives, we become healthy. And from there, we recognize what is worth prioritizing. And we take steps to keep going in the direction of possibility, endless creativity, we get so in love with the creative aspect of love itself, we become consciously and unconsciously inseparable from it. And with that comes the feeling that everything you need in order to be the best version of yourself, it's there. No matter what it is, you start to know yourself and you get really good at knowing yourself beyond who you think you are. You begin to take who you think you are and focus on what you are. And that is something that you're ready to experience in your life, in your reality. Let's pull a check back into the body. So just slow your brain waves down. You can do that by breathing really gentle. Slow down all the waves in your body with your focus on your breathing that has been slowed down, that is totally relaxed, and yet at the same time, totally alert. You're totally relaxed, and you're totally alert at the same time. Two different states of being that would seem like they're in complete opposition to each other, but that are actually one thing. It's one element of you that is finding the polarities or the poles in you, no matter where they are or around you, and being so aware of them, that balance just starts to occur naturally through you. Because we have the ability to do this. And when we're honest with ourselves, we know that it is the place where we can focus, where we can create from. Just find within you what it would feel like in your body, knowing that you don't have to worry about anything. Your money, your health, your existence in your body, they're all being supported by structures and different types of systems that are also evolving just as quick as we are. It can feel unstable. It can totally throw us off our balance. But rather than hiding, we're choosing to embrace it and to let all those polarities find their natural source of balance. And you can feel that. It becomes self-evident, just makes common sense that that's what's really going on. Feel what it's like to just know that everything you need to live in this body and in this world is already with you. Feel what it's like to just be so present with the feeling of knowing that everything is provided for you. And that when you start to create the most powerful relationship there ever could be, you watch how the forces around you begin to conspire, to come together, to create within and around you the knowingness that you're being supported no matter what you choose to do in this world. And if you choose to make becoming conscious of consciousness your mission, however it looks, things will literally come out of thin air. Events, people, things will just come to your awareness. And you will know if those things are imbalanced or if they're coming from a place of balance. It's just a feeling. You know it when you feel it. Feel that. Feel what it's like to trust life with your life. To trust that all these systems and structures of the world we're currently in, to know that they too are restructuring. And that we're in a time where anything goes. It's always been like that. But now it's happening to a degree that is quite exciting, and at the same time, really causing us to be alert. And not from a place of fear necessarily. You can choose to feel so alert, so aware of the presence of all of this in our body, that becomes the relationship we're most interested in. And we literally trust in the forces of life to guide us. So we choose to be alert because we're students, all of us. Students who are so into learning about our own nature. And when we make that connection, when you feel what it would feel like to trust everything, focus your attention inside of your body, throughout your entire body at the same time. And memorize what it feels like to be in your body, to trust your body, trust the sources and multitudinous different expressions of life. You're choosing to feel what it would be like to have total faith in yourself, in your real coherent nature between who you think you are and what you are. Until all of that starts working in harmony with itself. You are choosing to focus on the parts of you that are the most empowering. Memorize that feeling. Total faith, full trust. Memorize what it feels like throughout your entire body. And you can start to feel it, and it's palpable, just like the pulse of our heart. We can take the memory of that feeling and literally project it into our future. At some point, we recognize how in love with this process we are, even if our body feels like it's rejecting it, or our mind feels like it just doesn't want to be at peace with itself because it doesn't know itself in that way. But you are choosing to feel these greater feelings, these potentials of everything you know you're capable of and way beyond. You are creating a new construct of your own life from the feelings that you're generating now. And as long as you keep working on it, your life, this body, the energy field animating it, they all find harmony, coherence, and you willingly choose to breathe, be present, and to feel in a way that you're creating in harmony with your infinite self, so that this feeling, you are able to rewrite any parts of your own limitation that you want to. You can feel this energy that is a combination of you and your divine self. You can breathe all of this into your entire energy field. And people who are confused of what their energy field might feel like, think of magnets. You can't see the energy coming out of it, but it's there. In many ways, the journey through our own evolution in this world is so much in harmony with all of this. Keep relaxing. Breathe deeper, slower. And just let your nervous system be on autopilot for a few moments. Let your body and your mind just totally begin to feel what it would be like to relax and let all of yourself go into this feeling, into these electromagnetic biofields. Feel what it's like. And remind yourself that you can amplify your habits. If you're afraid or you're focusing from a lack of faith, abundance, which we all do, and you begin to make a habit of doing all of these things, that habit becomes you. And if you fine-tune your senses to be aware of your energy field, to interact with it from a conscious place, from an intention to know yourself as the soul, as the energy field you are, your ability to be able to perceive all of this becomes strengthened. As your ability to perceive that which you already are and that is becomes up-leveled. up-leveled and expanded to whatever degree you're ready for. Choose to relax more. Feel that little smile at the same time. And take your attention and direct it inwards to anything you feel could relate to fear. Financially, what things in your life do you feel you could generate more abundant wealth? What are those things? What do you feel in you that is afraid to live without what you feel you need? And feel your pulse literally inside the thought and feeling of whatever it is you're focusing on. Because when you perceive and you feel the pulse that you are and you know is real, you can focus on anything in and around your life. You can feel your pulse inside of the ocean from your body. You can feel your pulse on all the things that keep you up at night, all the things that are distracting, the fears that you hang on to. When you feel your pulse in all of it, just by letting it be what it is, your nervous system starts going to work to heal and bring your body and your mind, and your heart, and your spirit to a place of balance, so that the things of this world, the financial struggles, or any struggle you feel, is harmonized. It's alchemized. You are taking what you think you know, and you are turning it into what you are. You are a bioluminescent, electromagnetic force of nature that is so profound. It is supported by infinite galaxies, universes, Milky Ways. It's supported by multiverses. It's supported by all of that and way beyond. And can you imagine what it would feel like to just be partially aware of that? You are everything. You're already everything. So am I. So is everybody. We're just choosing to tune our perception to this in a way that's sustainable, in a way that we feel supported. And then bit by bit, all of that stuff starts working in concert with itself. Your body, you are rewriting the code throughout all the cells of your body. You're choosing to feel in your body in a way that overcomes any self or other imposed barrier or blockage. Feel that smile. And feel that smile in a way that the pulse, the energy of your being is in tune with it. It already is. You're just choosing to be more aware of it. The more aware of it you are, the more it becomes the trajectory and how you live your life in this world. And when you begin feeling that you're supported by life, that you trust whatever it is that you're focusing on or that is limiting to you, the more you embrace all of that, the more you become embraced by this sense of self you know you're capable of embodying. Keep breathing very slow. Little tiny smile on your face, in your heart. See if you can feel your pulse pulsating everywhere in and around your body at the same time. If you can feel your heartbeat right now, you have the ability to feel it throughout your entire body and around your body. And if you begin feeling your pulse everywhere around you, in you, you recognize the abundance that you're totally creating. Let that little smile get just a little bit bigger. Memorize that feeling. Memorize it over and over until you've got it, you've remembered. And as a result of that remembrance, you begin to feel supported by it. Breathing slow. Take your attention and start to focus on the water that you brought with you. If you didn't bring any water with you, just feel it in your body because we're primarily made up of water anyway. With your focus on your water, do your best to feel your pulse in that water. You can do it. And you get so good at feeling your pulse in you, you have the ability to start getting really good at feeling it all around you without limitations. You can feel your pulse in the sun. You can feel it in this planet we're on. You can feel it with a tree, animals, anything that you focus on. Feel your pulse in your water. Or just keep your attention focused on it and feel what that smile would be like if you're choosing to project it into your water. What if that water is exactly the part of your childlike self that is joy, creativity, remembers that everything represents new potential. That water is you. It's already in your field. And this world is you. Get really good at feeling your pulse in and all around your being and in all of this world. Things start to change the way they look. And you get excited, just like a child running through fields. Anything that the childlike part of yourself loves and appreciates, it's there. And by feeling your pulse in it, you claim that you're ready to evolve so that this part of you that you already are becomes the primary focus of everything you do. But take your time. Trying to focus or stress out to create deeper awareness is just going to give you the same result. It's just going to limit your ability. But when you can find that spot of being totally relaxed and totally alert at the same time, and you're in that spectrum, in the middle of it, you're feeling the balance of it. You are projecting that out from your being into this world to a degree that people, places, things that are in harmony with this potential starts to just become normal. Just like trusting that everything in your life will always be supportive of you if you're able to witness it and be aware of it and feel that pulse in it. You're claiming it as your own. And that action causes everything to evolve beyond anything we've ever perceived. Take your attention and focus it back on the water. We're going to come out of this shortly, but you're going to let that water know right now that you are totally grateful. That you are going to have a sip of it after this. That you're going to start creating a deeper relationship with the water in and around your being in this world. And start getting a dialogue going with it. Dialogue of feeling how the heart and brain and whole body coherence of your being is in relation to that water. Turn that switch on that allows you to love. That little smile that you feel that ripples into infinity. Feel that right now. And memorize that feeling. Memorize it until its second nature becomes your first. Most important relationship we've ever had is one that we already do have. We're just remembering to turn on the parts of our perception that is aware of it at that level. And that's something to smile about, something to feel grateful for. Program that water near you, whatever you have it in. Program it to assist you in continuing to feel more and more grateful for everything. Just the way it is. Feel the feelings of that gratitude through your breath, through your body, with that smile. Reprogram your own water in your body. And feel that energy in the water that will become like a teacher. One last time, let yourself feel that harmonious, coherent energy, and know that you can feel that amidst anything you experience. Hang on to that feeling. Remember what it feels like until something in your life reminds you of it. Shorten your breathing just a little bit. Few seconds in, few seconds out. Choosing to start becoming more aware and alert while staying totally relaxed. Let your awareness that is lit up, just bring it up to speed with right now in your body. You're thinking about that water that you're going to drink, take sips of, communicate with. You're thinking about anything that you're thinking and feeling. And you're doing it in a way that allows you to feel confident, because now you know that you are the source of power that can totally change the way it interfaces with all these other parts of yourself. And so that whatever it is you need in your life to feel supported, it's there. It's just waiting for your attention, for your ability to feel it now. Gently just start taking your hands and spinning them, creating friction, heat. And take the palms of your hand and put them over your eyes. And if you are able to see what it looks like with your hands over your eyes, if you can see anything, color, energy, geometry, let yourself be aware of it. And trust that it is teaching you, it's guiding you. And know that no matter what, everything works out exactly the way it needs to or wants to. And you trust that. take your fingers and just start tapping at the top of your forehead. Tap and start moving downward towards your neck. If you're doing this and you feel tension in one of the points, just make a little note of that. It's corresponding to something in your body. When you're ready, just come back with us in your normal waking state. Anybody who wants to keep doing this on their own, just hang up, stay in it. If you feel like you're so good at this that you can do it, eyes wide open, do it. And if you're staying and you want to have a little chat with us, I know it can be kind of intense talking after this, but if you want to, you're welcome to join us. Anybody want to share anything?
So many thoughts. Hold on. I know I'm in my enlightened body right now. Hold on. Let me raise up my opacity.
I like it in between like that, actually.
Yeah.
Just for now, it doesn't matter.
Just like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty,
exactly.
it's kind of what we're doing. So
Yeah. Wow. I can go on and on, but so many references and things that you brought up during the meditation portion. Just triggered so many thoughts going on in my mind. So I go on for a while, but
anything specific, like any kind
yeah,
of
well, I can. So here, I want to approach this not from a very like esoteric type perspective at all, because that's not what we're trying to put out here, but this is more of I guess a learning curve, or an educational moment, because I every single week I think that everybody should come away from these with more education, more enlightenment than they originally came into this with. And for not going too much into the esoteric part of things, but more of addressing it from the perspective of being knowledgeable and becoming aware of certain things that have been placed on humanity or in our realm that we're aware of. Just think about it, like, and here, let me just start from the point of water, based upon our age, we're 70 to 90% water. Okay. Think of it. You even started going into it before during the session, just where we originated from, whatever you believe in, God or whatever, but like we're all from like a source, and think about like in the lines of like water, we are birthed into this realm, BERTH, and we're in the waters of commerce. We're doing, just like just think about like water. Okay. And there is here, so as it relates to like abundance and wealth, whatever wealth is actually to you, and that's why I even went into last week, what does wealth mean to you, and what is your relationship to money, the Babylonian money magic system. And everybody has their learning curve. And obviously there's also even some things even on a public platform that we're restreaming to this thing called YouTube and other platforms that, certainly can't bring out, well, I don't want to, harm the public, I guess you can say, but even such very simplistic, very key events that have happened through our times that still apply to us nowadays, beginning even with, let's say, the 1666 Cesta KV Act, where it says that you come into this world, okay, you're birthed through the canal, you're delivered by a doctor, D-O-C-K, tour. You're you come out of the waters, you're immediately captured with your footprint on a bond paper and all that other very kind of esoteric stuff. But that Cesta KV Act of 1666 is that after 7 years you're presumed lost at sea. Okay, and these are going back to ancient times, where people used to go on ships and everything else, and they're gone for years and years, straight through. And if they didn't come back after 7 years and claim their estate, that they're presumed dead. Okay, so every 7 years you're supposed to, back in that day, claim that you're alive. Nobody has ever done that really here. Well, very select people, but such various events like that. And then getting into the whole money Babylonian money magic system that, well, you weren't necessarily getting into that, but, in kind of an indirect way also, in that we are actually, are we victims, or are we actually the ones kind of like, accepting of it, or, are we just have we simply become very complacent throughout the years, and we are not all doing the inner work to manifest the outer reality in our own realities? So who is really like, the victim, and things like that. So you have like things like the 1666 SKV Act, and then you have come across the Treaty of Paris of 1783, where by and through King George III. And if you actually take a look at the National Archives document, and again, this is all just hidden in plain sight, as they say, very esoteric there. So the Treaty of Paris is specifically said, if you pull it up, National Archives, you'll see that there is a clear distinction between United States and United States of America. Okay?
Let me ask you something. I would love to ask you something. Sorry to interrupt. What would it feel like to take responsibility for all that, in the sense like you're choosing to be aware of it in a way that you're not separate from it, and you start to feel how all these things are really just parts of you that are playing out through your own growth, through your own evolution? I know it's
exactly my point.
Not, yeah, but
it's exactly my point. It's like the outer projection. It's like what you're projecting out into the world. So, we're coming from light years and light years of galaxies away, from source or whatever. We come in here and we take on the clothing of this realm right here, and we are remembering what our true embodiments are. So projecting that out into the world, it's like we actually are manifesting our own reality here. So don't take it, people shouldn't be taking it as a direct, very in a very combative way. And I'm getting to just one point in a sec. The Libra Code is basically saying those that are under the jurisdiction of a certain government, whatever you can say, is and the Libra Code basically says, if you're under that jurisdiction, you are a combatant, you are belligerent, And there's one other thing that just doesn't come to mind right now, but it's basically becoming aware of these certain events and how we have been enslaved throughout the years. It's just don't take it I guess so defensively, or just like I said, like, you create your own reality, right? So
What, me personally, I don't believe any of that, but it's, but part of that is like, just to engage with this world on the level that it appears to be at, that's enslavement, right? And so we're doing that no matter what. It's our brainwaves, it's our perception. We create thoughts of seeing and experiencing life in such a repetitious manner that it becomes our reality. We literally project that into it. Again, like we were saying in the beginning, most of human consciousness is so focused on what you're talking about. You get everybody focusing in that, they set themselves right up for it. And bit by bit, by doing these, breathing and feeling your pulse, just feeling your pulse. And let me ask you this, Greg, if you could take your awareness of it, right, of what you just shared, and you choose to feel your pulse in it, and I'm not saying that you have to or you do, but what would it be like if you have any?
Wow. Trying to think where to begin on that, but I was just thinking, just while you're saying that, like, it goes back to what's your relationship with money, so because just becoming aware of these certain things, you'll be able to take a look at certain things. And it's kind of funny, I was chatting with a good friend just the other day, and we were chatting for about 2 hours, and one of the key points was that definitions matter. So every single definition matter, and definitions have been changed throughout the centuries so many times, and I'm sure the Bible's been rewritten time and time and again, and everything else. But um I think one of the references he's a big Bible dude, but one of the references he made was like, in the beginning there was the word. Well, add an L to that world, okay, WORLD, and then make a direct correlation from world to world, WHIRREL, world ED. But just like, he's throughout this entire conversation, also he's just making certain metaphors and connotations and references to like just different words that had been just changed throughout the times. And there's also a reason why they have us go to like Black's Law Dictionary, the 4th edition, to take a look at those, to study those words and definitions. Go to like Black's Law Dictionary. There's somebody in the background. Oh, Lee. So does anybody else have anything to add in? Feel free to raise your hand, unmute yourself, and just hop right in. This is the stuff that I love to be able to bring on a private platform like Freedom Snap. Okay, there are certain things that wouldn't want to say to harm the public. I don't want to be a combatant, belligerent. Trading with the Enemy Act. That's another thing. The Libra Code, and all that other stuff. So, I think that everybody just has so much knowledge that we can, as a community, pull together, and we can educate ourselves. And if you have great at gardening, to come on board and teach people gardening, homesteading, law, or esoteric stuff, or Seth, Coherence Meditations, so enlightening, so just fundamentally just needed for everyone. So
Thank
any thoughts, ideas, comments? Yeah, I can go on about that stuff, but it's not something go on here, but yeah.
I'm just
But
feeling
you
my
hit
pulse.
the nail on the head like so many times during that, like so many references, like we're all students of life. That was another reference you made, like we're all students. We're here to learn, remember,
Yeah.
like like what is it, the reference in, is it in the Bible? About the um oh geez, along the Nile, all of these the hand, arm, whatever, legs and everything laying on the Nile, and then his member, you know uh being the male phallus on there,
Yeah.
and we're remembering, right?
Yeah.
So I don't quite have all my thoughts together on all that,
It's
but
okay. They never
hey,
are. Right?
it's a new learning curve for everyone, me especially. It's good stuff. Louis always has some good. Oh, is he still? Yeah, he's still there. Okay, he must be in deep, deep meditation down there. You always have some great, great words of wisdom, Louis.
So I had this, I don't know, hold on a second here. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, because
Yeah,
I got that
coming great.
headset on that doesn't always come across clearly. So this guy named Neville Goddard wrote this book called The Feeling is the Secret back in 1944 or earlier. And it's one of those things that I had bookmarked, and it's like in my second spot on my bookmark place because I had this experience that this is like one of the most important things that we need to learn if we're going to follow Joe Dispenza's formula, which is not his formula, but he articulates it so well that clear intentions, like clear thoughts plus elevated emotions, consciously created emotions, are the ingredients for having a particular reality that's sitting in the quantum fields of the infinite possibilities be the one that we actually experience in this three-dimensional, whatever you want to call it, virtual reality, illusion, physical reality. And very few people are doing it consciously. They're not checking their thoughts, and they're not checking their feelings. They're almost like a little puppy in a room, just tearing the room up instead of, being trained. We need to train our minds to choose our thoughts and our feelings. And so there's a little thing, one of the takeaways from that audio that I finally listened to on the way to visit you, Greg, because I'm actually at Greg's house right now. They said that we're missing tremendous opportunities before going to sleep. There are things that we could be doing to set the stage to have a very productive sleep, because that's when we go to the subconscious when we go to sleep, and that's a big part of reality production. So there are things like it is he was stressing the importance of choosing and creating our state that we would love to live in uh, 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 before we go to sleep, so that when we go to sleep, that's what the subconscious is going to be rolling with for the next 4 to 8 hours. And I wanted to offer that up to the group that uh, try to do something conscious before you go to sleep, that will make the sleeping stage, it's almost like a free opportunity to have the world working, the universe working in our favor if we do something conscious before going to sleep, like whatever it is that we desire to have the feeling of it as if it's already manifested, be the feeling that we go to sleep with, and watch the subconscious and the parts of the universe that create reality for us go to work. And it was such like, I'm like, here, I'm 59 years old, and I'm like, oh my God, that like I've been having the opportunity all along to do that, and I've been missing it. But they say that what's the difference between in the Greek plays between a tragedy and a comedy is in the comedy the protagonist figures everything out before they die. you know, so I'm still alive. So it's you know, if I'm going to live to be 120, I'm only halfway through it. I finally figured this part out, but I offer that up to the group to, we could be doing this coherence meditation or something coherent before we go to sleep that will reap us huge benefits, I believe. So I offer that up to the group.
Thank you.
Very good. Yeah. So does this count? So last night, you stuck me with that Star Trek episode.
Huge.
The original Star Trek, right? Dove.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah,
Dove.
it's season 3, episode 7, Day of the Dove. That episode, early disclosure, I believe, to me, in my own personal experience, from all the data and all the rabbit holes that I've gone down and the red pills that I've swallowed, you know, it's not just one red pill. There's quite a few of them. That episode depicts what's going on this planet better than anything I've ever seen, where this entity that thrives off of people's hatred. So what does it do? It finds people to pit against each other to create divisiveness, and then it gets its life energy from the hatred of others. And finally, Spock and Kirk figure it out at the end, and they're like, we have to make peace with the Klingons because otherwise this will go on for eternity. And they finally, very difficult task, could convince the Klingons, and they have to demonstrate camaraderie and friendship between each other, and they completely withdrew their energy from, and the entity had no choice but to leave. And now they're hip to it. So anytime it comes around, their defense against it is love. And I'm like, oh my God, it was like, that episode is from 1968. Oof. Oh my God.
Yeah, you know what? You sent me that link about a year and a half ago, and I did watch it, but I watched it. I'm glad you told me to watch it again last night. And towards the end, there were just so many references, and I didn't tell you any of those earlier today. But I'll gather my thoughts and I'll
Yeah, I
let you
definitely
know
wanted
many of those that I was thinking
want your
about.
opinion on that. But that, to me, like, if the whole planet saw that episode, they would go, "Oh my God, we've been duped." You know, and we're the ones that
Yeah.
dupe, and we're the divisiveness is probably an outer expression, as Seth is saying. If we take total responsibility for it, we're the ones that allowed, you know, that perhaps created the divisiveness. And even if we're not, we have total control in reversing it. But I think, to me, the ultimate responsibility is to take ownership of it, like Seth's always invited me to do. And the gig is up once people know that the divisiveness is like the outer expression of the divisiveness that we experience within our own minds, which coherence pretty much reverses.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that projection, and not even that. While I was listening to that, again, going on definitions, words mean something, so definitions matter. And I might have to watch the ending again before I tell you, get all my thoughts together and tell you a couple things. But yeah, I was even thinking while Seth was going through his meditation here for all of us, and just like, you know what, I think it would be a good idea for everyone, just now that we're, you know, after that meditation, we're talking about all this stuff, just pay attention in just real life definitions in real life, like, you know, how they say here, like understanding. Well, what does that mean? It's to stand under, you know, understanding. I don't say understanding anymore. I say comprehend. You know, yes, I comprehend that. You know, or just, you know, play on words, you know, just it means a lot. So as you're going day to day, you know, be cognizant of that. I think you'll definitely understand. There you go. Yep. So you'll pick up a lot of things, I think, day-to-day basis. Anybody else raise your hand? Chime right in, guys. Otherwise, let's see. What do we have planned for next week then? I mean, we can, like, these topics right here, these are so many that we could just go like I shouldn't say infinitely, but we have so many topics we can just expand this to like a couple months worth of sessions.
Yeah, let's keep going with abundance, because there are so many different manifestations of it. And sometimes we can feel it and really get into it. And sometimes, like one meditation will be more powerful than another. So the idea, we want to provide something for everyone, which is why we work so much on our bodily systems, because we amplify anything we focus on. And when we realize that we can focus on what we would like to have going on, you start being empowered. You're able to just do that. If people are focused on fear, what's going to happen, right? But if we're focusing on love, on just being conscious of this, I mean, for just 1 second, like, what is this? What it is some kind of incomprehensible energy. I mean, how do you even, it's so intelligent. When I just think of my body and what's going on, it is way more intelligent than I am. And so I love taking the limited intelligence I have and focusing on whatever's happening with this. And then somehow all the blank spots just get filled in.
Yeah.
So it's different to everybody. Yeah, Lori says abundance is spending
Exactly.
time doing this.
Yeah, I did post that question. Actually, I cut and pasted it over here on our restream, and I asked anybody out there if they had their own definition of wealth. And here, wealth, it was this Align Wisdom Oracle and Tarot. Wealth is a universe providing the basics, simple living with an appreciative mind, using your talents to help other people in the world. That's a good way to view it. I think a lot of people also, in my opinion, they can get hung up on just like, well, wealth is all about money, right? It's all about, but the Benjamins, and like, you really take a look at that, like what they stuck us with were these little pieces of funny money. Well, you take a look on the back and they got the all-seeing eye and all this other various esoteric stuff. And, but is that like really, that's not even sound money. In 1971, they took away our gold and silver, and not even that, in 1933, that was when it all began with that taking away gold. And not even that, it goes back 1913 when they originally had the Federal Reserve Act, and they had their grand scheme and their plans of things to do, to create this Federal Reserve System, which is not owned by the government and by the people. So it's just a bunch of private bankers. That's all it is.
I put that link in the chat for the Neville Goddard. It's like a 40-minute listen. It's a great reminder. And this is way before The Secret and Abraham and Seth. Seth as channeled by Jane Roberts, but our Seth too. And this is just reality production principles 101. It's where I got that whole sleep thing from. And it's just a great listen to, as far as, because Seth, you're saying Captain Obvious, like, why focus on that? Focus on this. But easier said than done, because our minds are like one of those fire hoses that gets loose from the fire person's hands, and that thing is like flipping all over the place and can really cause a lot of damage. But if you can somehow grab it and hold it and direct it, you can put out fires and do all kinds of great things. So, I guess a great conversation, Seth, would be, how do we override the mind's like constantly trying to offer its fear-based crap that we've been programmed with our whole lives, and we take over. And it takes a lot of diligence and persistence and practice, I guess. But what's the alternative? Not to step up at all.
I mean, in my own experience, I've allowed myself to unconsciously get programmed and condition my entire body with what I think is happening or what it means to me or anything. And it takes a little bit of time, right? Like, our whole lives, for the most part, we're focused on, this is me, this is my life, this is what's happening. I don't want that person. I don't want this situation to happen. Like, people are addicted to who they think they are. We've all are, or to some degree. So when we realize we can break that cycle, takes a little bit of time, but that's what we're saying. Like, you have a breakthrough, as a result of doing even just a little bit of this consistently every day. It only takes one or two of those breakthroughs before you're all in. So yeah, by doing all this, we're seemingly going against everything that we think is happening in the world. But what if it isn't happening like that? What if we just think it is? And I know it's a tough thing to swallow, but at the same time, like, is it? Aren't we here? Like, look around. When I see what is happening around, I'm like, whoa, okay. There's something in me that I'd much rather focus on than all of that. But then I get into this and I start to feel it and just totally get in tune with it. And then I look out at the things of this world and they don't look the same. They don't feel the same. And so, like I said, feeling your pulse, right? Anywhere in your body, feeling it in the world around you, on the sun, on the moon, whether it's real or fake, none of that matters. The way we perceive reality is where we're at, and we can get way better at it. Because let's face it, I mean, most people feel like they're stuck. And you look at all the things that we get stuck upon, and they form patterns that most relate to. It's time to be the one that creates the patterns, not the one who's ruled by it. So, total long roundabout answer for you.
It's great.
I have a question, or
Yes.
kind of just a comment. Yeah, you're just talking about like abundance and healing abundance, and I've been really like doing all this work to reprogram and at the same time, the deeper I go, things like come up in the body, and it's been like exacerbated at times where like I feel like I thought about money, and then I feel this sensation in my lower back, this like fear goes there. And I feel like it's generational, but then I'll like start to reprogram, and now I'm like, I really felt a connection with that pulsing and this deeper aspect of me in this meditation, this, as you're talking about. And so like I felt it again, and I'm just like, oh wait, no, like I could start breathing and tuning. And then it was like hard at first because as we're talking, I'm like not in that place I was in the meditation, but I can get there and just start to feel that pulse in my lower back. And I guess I just wanted to see if you could like comment on that, if you know.
That's beautiful, Jake. Yeah, I mean, I always tell people like it's worth getting what's it called? A physiology and anatomy book, so you can start looking and seeing what organs of your body correspond to anything, like everything else. It's all connected to a much greater source. And for me, after getting a book like that and seeing where all my organs and everything are, and then focusing on feeling the pulse in them, it creates a greater state of coherence. So same thing, like you said, with pain, your pain in your back it's something that's getting your attention, but what happens, like with pain, people be like, oh, I don't want it, or I'm going to take drugs, I'm going to take all this stuff. But how many of us like take the time to feel it? Because they can clear up really quick, So thank you for sharing that, because yeah, like all the pain, all the different things that we're subjected to can be remedied just by relaxing,
But what you mean by feeling it? Because that's where I've like gone back and forth, because at times I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna feel it, and then it's like I'm just focusing on the pain, and I feel like that doesn't really work.
Amplifies.
But just in this meditation, it's like no, I'm just gonna let it be there. And then also at the same time feel this deeper aspect of me that's like pulsing with it, and kind of feel how that pulsing is almost like we're starting to reorganize this like more outer layer, which is like the fear.
That's a great, I mean, it's
I don't
both,
know.
right? Like for a long time, I was only focusing on my pain, kind of what you're saying. It just started to play a predominant part in my life. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to focus on that. I want to relax, but it's in the middle of being alert and being totally relaxed. It's when you get into that, like you're still feeling everything. You're not bypassing it. You're feeling it. And because you're choosing to be alert while you're feeling whatever you're feeling, that creates something that just, it's like, it's the whole thing of duality, right? Like if we focus on one thing and we think it means something and then it changes and it doesn't, it's both. It's feeling your pain and choosing to rise above it or beyond it.
I'd like to add to that, Seth, because
That's
I know
helpful.
there's a quote that says nothing's good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And we get to choose what the pain means. And for a lot of people, they don't understand. And I'm not saying that this is what's happening for you. But the biggest challenge that I found when we step to the inner work, doing it consciously, going after stuff, is this pain coming or going? Is it something new that's being newly created because of a story that I'm telling? Or is it something that my body's releasing? And because I can all day long, if I could be in, thank God that's it on that, versus, oh God, not again, you know? And so it's kind of important to relate. My go-to place when I feel pain, especially lately, I don't know about other people here on this Zoom, but I've been having all kinds of weird body sensations, pains that show up for a day and they're completely gone the next day. And I was walking a labyrinth the other day, Seth. Oh my God, I was walking it and I think I was thinking about my money situation. And all of a sudden, right at the base of my spine, the sensation was like there was a bird trapped in my shirt, fluttering around. Like there was this, and it wasn't pain. It was just like this fluttering energy. Like all of a sudden, something started moving in my lower spine, and it freaked me out because not because of the pain, but it was like, what the hell is this? And it lasted for 5-10 seconds, and then I was like, okay, am I going to be paralyzed now? Am I going to collapse? And I got scared, and then I just kept walking the labyrinth, and it was gone. And I just related with it like, something's moving, something, but is it really something moving? Or is it something that just is, and I get to choose what it means based upon responsible thinking on my part and meaning making? Because that's one thing that no one can take away from us, is our ability to choose meaning of what something means, our relationship with things. So I just chose to relate with it as it was a natural healing, cleansing, releasing process because of the meditation and the walk that I was doing in the labyrinth. And it, and I feel great now, you know? So part of the challenge of doing the inner work is making accurate sense of the byproducts of our growth. And a lot of that can be pain releasing or just weird things flowing that we're not used to. And so, to whatever degree that makes a difference, I offer that to the group.
That's
Hey,
great.
really quick on that labyrinth that you mentioned there. I know you said that they're everywhere. Labyrinths are everywhere, and well, we got Sedona about an hour and a half north of us from Phoenix here. Tons of energy points up there and labyrinths, but people can find labyrinths anywhere around them, right, Louis?
So you're saying that there's a lot of, I'm sorry, repeat.
Well, remember when I asked you a couple months ago, like, oh, well, are there any labyrinths near me? And you're like, dude, they're everywhere.
Yeah, I found two
So
within
where can you
15
find
minutes of
those?
you just Google labyrinths near me. And I found two, right? 15 minutes
Okay.
from your house. They're beautiful. They're great. One is by a church in their off field that nobody goes to. And I know nobody's walking that labyrinth because it was completely overgrown with weeds, which wouldn't happen if people were walking it. And I just knew that that labyrinth was so happy that I was walking it because I sought it out. And I'm like, that is my go-to place in Phoenix now, is that little patch of ground. So, but anyway, the gentleman who brought up the pain issue, you were going to comment on something. I wanted to make sure that this file was closed before you go. So is there anything else that you wanted to add to that? Or the one?
No, that was great.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Hey, I love it when people take what I say and put it in quotations in the chat. I'm like, ooh, who am I?
That was so good. I just had to capture it.
And you're doing it on the fly. See, now, like when I'm trying to do this stuff on the fly, there's so many thoughts going through my head. I'm trying to articulate certain things coming out, and it's just like I kind of jump around here and there. So, like I said, it's like a learning curve, even for me right now. So,
well, I'm just going to tell you something that a mentor once told me. It's kind of graphic, but he says, when you can get as good going to the bathroom spiritually as you do physically, then you will have achieved a certain level of ability. Because notice, when we go to the bathroom physically, we get a signal, we consume something, our body does its magic with it, it takes what it needs and it poops or pees out the rest, and we get a signal and we go to the bathroom. And when we go to the bathroom, we're not sitting there like looking at what's leaving our bodies like, oh, there's a part of me, those cucumber seeds or whatever, you know. Like, no, we have a healthy relationship with letting go of stuff physically. Why can't we do what we do with our shit physically, what we do with our shit that we're releasing emotionally, like spiritually? And that was a tough training right there, because no one ever taught me that. So that's what I offer up to the group, that we start doing, we get as good as letting go of stuff emotionally and spiritually as we do like our trauma, our drama, as we do the inner work, as we're already doing it physically. I mean, the physical is an expression of the non-physical. So maybe that whole process physically is to remind us what we can be doing spiritually with our, I'm sorry to use profanity, but with our shit. That's not us, by the way.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. So real.
very good. Well, anybody have anything else to add? Otherwise, we're going on. Wow, man, like an hour and 50 minutes. So maybe we should kind of start closing things off here, right?
Yeah. Thank you for hosting it, Greg, and Louis for being there. And I guess if anybody wants to, we're going to focus on abundance, probably. We'll keep going with it. And if anybody wants to comment below this video on one of the platforms we're on, I'll see it, or you can just send me like a DM or something, and we'll go with that. I want to hear what other people would love to experience and like what kind of support is needed. So do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, as they always say, right? And please share this far and wide.
Someone's asking in the chat. There's a you know, I think they're inquiring, is there a place that we can keep this going? And as you answer that, I just wanted to completely close the file on the poop analogy, and that is, notice how good we feel after we go to the bathroom too. So, you know.
That's classic.
I'll think of that. I'll think of you next time I'm doing that. Thank you.
Hey, as long as I'm in there somewhere, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
We'll
don't throw,
continue.
just
Thank
don't
you,
throw,
everybody.
just don't throw out with the, just don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks to everyone for joining. Even in YouTube land or Facebook land. If you'd like to join these calls, we do these every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Our Zoom is the live session. There's a slight delay restreaming over to the social platforms. Our main channel on YouTube is Cosmic Gaia Community. So please go to that channel, subscribe, trigger on the notifications. You'll get notifications when we do go live. You can also go to freedomsnap.org/Seth. And there's a link in there that you can add it to your device. You'll get notifications there. And there's also a link that you can subscribe to our newsletter, all that stuff. And especially with the upcoming platform we're trying to get going here called Freedom Snap. And that platform will be very, I think, educational for everyone. Everyone, like I said, everyone has something to bring to the table. So it will be a great community to learn off of each other and to network with like-minded people and to kind of keep it out of the public realm as well. We'll have our own little private platform. So with that said, next week, Tuesday, 6 p.m., we will see everyone there. Seth, do you have any last words?
Yeah, you're saying something, and I was like, ooh, I don't remember it, but it doesn't matter.
I've had so many of those. I wish I actually write down notes so that I can actually better articulate some of my thoughts after our meditations. I got to start doing that. So I don't want to
say this before everybody goes, drink that water, sip on it, start forming like an active conscious relationship with it. You don't even need to think, you just choose to be with it. Yes. Feel your pulse in it if you can, because when you get really good at feeling your pulse in you, or when you start to feel it in things that are seemingly opposite or outside of you, that's what allows you to be creative and take your power back.
And that, by the way, your water that you represent, I say your water, but the water that was gifted to you to bring to the world, tourmaline, like if you take that water and you bring it to these coherent stuff, it literally, the first syllable is tour, and it'll give you a nice tour of your inner landscape as you drink that water. So that's a play on the tourmaline, want to take a tour. So anyway.
Well, thank you for that shout out. I appreciate it.
Nice, dude. All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, again. We will see you next week.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thank you.